Hi, good morning, or rather good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alan Ng. I'm an economic development specialist here at the Hawaii Technology Development Corporation. So just ignore the name that's above my head right now. I'm not Sandy, I'm Ellen, okay? Um, this session today is going to be led by Dr. Gwen Jacobs and Dr. Jason Lay, who are co-directors of the Hawaii Data Institute. Very happy and very excited to have them here today. Before we jump into the session itself, I would like to remind everyone that this session is being recorded and we will share the recordings after the event. You can also leave any questions you might have for Dr. Jacobs or Dr. Lay through the discussion function, and they will get to your questions when they can. So again, not surprisingly, Hawaii is ranked third among the states in the US most severely impacted by COVID-19 due to its heavy reliance on tourism and the military. So in this presentation, Dr. Jacobs and Dr. Lay will share how efforts in the areas of data science and artificial intelligence can help to create pandemic-proof job opportunities in Hawaii, as well as jobs that will allow the workforce to achieve salaries that are comparable to the mainland US. So I'm really excited, and without further ado, I'd like to hand the session over to Dr. Jacobs and Dr. Lay.
Thank you. I guess I'll start first, and then Gwen will continue on with some of the things that she's been working on that'll be really, I think, very helpful to a lot of folks who are looking for future opportunities for career growth and seeking new careers. So as the abstract mentioned, we were hit by a pandemic very severely in Hawaii, and are actually, if you sort of look at a place like San Diego was very similar to Hawaii many years ago. San Diego initially was heavily about tourism and military, so it's this two-legged stool. And so what San Diego did was they realized that they were kind of vulnerable without extra legs on their stool, so they started focusing in other areas like international trade, technology, life sciences, and real estate. Nowadays, San Diego is considered like a powerhouse in technology with UC San Diego, and so this is a perfect example of a success story that hopefully Hawaii can also capitalize on. As you all know, since you all live in Hawaii, COVID really hit us badly. This is, of course, Waikiki, where you saw everything boarded up, and everyone moved home to work online. And for most people who are in computer-related industries, we were doing great because that's how we normally work. And so companies like NVIDIA that makes the graphics cards for video game systems, or Zoom, Netflix, lots of movie binging, Amazon and Tesla did extremely well during this time, and they still continue to do well. And a lot of this is tied to the fact that these things are tied to computing. If you look at the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, these are slightly newer numbers that I updated recently. Before the pandemic, the projected growth rate was about 11%. Now it's even higher at 13%. It's like over 600,000 jobs, and the median wage is quite impressive at about 90,000. And then especially when you compare it to other occupations on the order of only 40,000. And even if you're an artist, the farthest you imagine from being involved in computing, every movie these days is made somehow with a computer. And so even then, you're talking about almost $80,000 salaries as a digital artist, right? And if you want to go even more detail, don't look at this too closely because the print is kind of small. But I want to point out one thing near the top. So, if you have a master's degree, you're talking about a median income of about $127,000, right? Which is pretty amazing. But on the average, you can see these salaries are really, really high. And they're all because they're flavored in computing, right? I started basically in the 80s when I got into writing code just as a hobby. And a lot of kids these days, that's how they get into it, right? And that's a great way to start, going from a hobby and then a well-paid career. And if you kind of look back in the last 20 years of how computing has changed the industry, right? If you look at music, books, movies, hotels, taxis, These are all completely disrupted by computers now. You got Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, right? Airbnb, that's changing the hotel world, HBO Max, YouTube, and Uber, right? Computers are everywhere. We can't escape them. Now, what's even more disruptive down the road is artificial intelligence and robotics. These companies like Amazon, they're starting to build robots for your homes to help you in your homes. I saw this really awesome video of Tesla cars as they avoid accidents. I'm going to play it because it really shows the things that artificial intelligence can do that humans can't, right? How can they? That's the key. How can artificial intelligence really augment humans? So there's an accident about to happen. Look, keep your eyes fixated here. You're going to see a bunch of rear-ended accidents going. Here we go, bang, bang, and wait. The Tesla didn't get hit. And they're going to do a slow-mo of this. But basically, the Tesla is always aware of everything around it. It knew a car was going to hit it, and it automatically sped up just to get out of the way, but not so fast that it would crash into the car in front. No human can do this, right? And here's more. Stop just in time for another accident, right? Because we don't have eyes all over. Oh, here's the most dramatic one. There's a semi-truck racing to rear end the Tesla. The Tesla sees it from the rear end camera and gets onto the median, the side, and that semi crashes into the vehicle in front of the Tesla, and the Tesla is safe, right? So everything from automotive to healthcare to climate change to the stock market, it's all completely being transformed and going to be transformed by artificial intelligence. So what does that mean for poor humans? So the World Bank basically projects that in 20 years, half of the jobs will disappear in the Western world because of artificial intelligence. And well, we can say, well, maybe we shouldn't go into artificial intelligence. We should just stay away because everyone should just keep their old jobs. Well, the problem is the rest of the world is advancing forward. And if you look at the competition, China, they are ramping up their artificial intelligence dominance, and they basically want to be the future leaders of artificial intelligence. And here in US, we're starting to decline. And so as a result of this, the National Science Foundation has been in the past year and a half putting a lot of effort into these national artificial intelligence research institutes. And University of Hawaii is a partner in some of these institutes. And what we'd like to do over time is to grow that to provide more jobs that are AI savvy, or train folks who are AI savvy for that future. And so, COVID created this huge opportunity, right, for us. Many of the jobs that we lost due to COVID, we can now gain back through computing. The fact of the matter is, if you have a computer, you have internet, you can work anywhere in the world. You can work for Google. You can get paid essentially Google salaries while still in Hawaii. And some of my students who are graduating are doing exactly that. And I'm going to show you examples of those kinds of things. And we're going to show you examples of that happening at the Hawaii Data Science Institute and other places. But what we like to do, is we want to try and prepare future generations of students for this AI future, learn to develop, to use and develop artificial intelligence to augment where humans are at their weakest, like in that Tesla example, and then to enhance skills that AI is not good at yet, like creativity, collaboration, culture, and entrepreneurship. So here's some examples that we're going to go through. One of them is in my lab at the Laboratory for Advanced Visualization and Applications. We're also going to talk about the Hawaii Data Science Institute, which GWEN and I co-lead together. And then there's also a third spin-up lab at UH West Oahu that we'd like to talk a little bit about. So in my lab, for example, these are some former students. Some graduated almost 4 years ago. Some two recent graduates. They started working on projects related to high-performance computing, in data visualization, in collaboration, multi-team collaboration, in advanced networking, because you're going to need the network plumbing to be able to get the data back and forth. These are all National Science Foundation funded projects. And where these folks end up is, well, one student, Noel, ended up at Aerospace Corporation, and his starting salary was exactly $90,000. Dylan Kobayashi, he graduated literally a few months ago, and his starting salary was at least $125,000. And this is Oceanit, which is great, And Katrina, she started on a networking project. Now she works for ESNet, but she gets to stay in Hawaii. That's the best part. And she's starting at about $90,000 for Energy Science Network. So she works at home in Kaneohe, but she can get basically mainland salaries, right? So shifting over to the Data Science Institute. Where do I? So here, this one, yeah. So in the Data Science Institute, I'll just sample 2 students, and then I'll show you a list of other students and what they're working on. One of them is Troy Wooten. He was born and raised in Lanai. His parents owned a farm, basically, and he was a biology student who decided that he wanted to get into computing, and especially artificial intelligence. So he worked on a project with me called Landscape, which is to use visualization tools to help people better manage landslides and floods. And from that, as a fellow of the Hawaii Data Science Institute, ultimately landed a job at the Hawaii State Energy Office, transferring his skills in data science to the Energy Office to help Hawaii make better decisions using data and artificial intelligence. Alberto Gonzalez, he's from Spain. He did something that's really crucial in today's modern age, where inventions are being created all the time, and you want to see what the competition is doing and try to understand what the competition is doing. So he worked on a project now called DocuSage, which takes lots of research documents and basically uses artificial intelligence to read them, to help people understand where are the critical knowledge that's been disseminated in these documents, so you can start to find where are the new innovations that can happen. He's a bit of an entrepreneur, so he started a company on the side here in Hawaii. And then also as a side gig, he's actually working at Chaminade University. But this is all kind of data science related. And here, our data science fellows program. Gwen, do you want to say a few words about this program?
Yeah, happy to, and welcome, and delighted that you guys could be here to listen to some of these opportunities. So Jason and I conceived of the Data Science Fellows Program as a way to initiate folks who may or may not have data science skills and want to be able to use those in terms of pursuing their thesis research. So intentionally, we recruit a set of fellows that have a variety of backgrounds. Some come in with good computing and coding skills. Others have very few coding skills. But as a cohort, we bring these folks together. They have a year-long fellowship during which they work on their data-intensive research project with their mentor, but they also learn through a series of hands-on workshops all the basic kind of data science and data management and computing skills that you would need, not only for a job in industry, but basically to do modern, what I would call modern data-intensive research. We've had some great success stories with these folks. It's been a really fun program. and I think one of the things that makes it a little bit different is because these students come in from a variety of backgrounds, whether it's marine science, astrophysics, business, other areas. As a cohort, they work together, they share their experiences with each other, and what we're doing now is creating really what we call a community of practice for these folks. And this would be a really great opportunity for any of you that are, say, pursuing a master's degree or a PhD, or are an undergraduate that's really interested in acquiring these skills before you, for example, take a job in industry. We've had now, 4 cohorts of students, Jason, I think, and I know Jason showed you just a couple examples, but I've been very, very impressed at the jobs that the students have achieved. And I think a lot of this additional training in data science and basic, what we call cyber infrastructure skills, being able to work with high performance computing, working with a variety of different software applications, this has really given them a leg up to be much more competitive in the job market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think for people who want to enter this space right now, the University of Hawaii does have a data science certificate, which you can apply even if you're not a actual student that's part of a specific department.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, you sort of register as a sort of non-committed kind of degree student, and we have a bunch of data science curriculum classes that you can enroll under to start building on those skills. So even if you're already working at a company, if you're working at, say, Oceanet or First Hawaiian Bank, and you want to build those skills, you can actually obtain that certificate by taking some of these classes at UH.
Yeah, and we also, as part of this program and our efforts in the Data Science Institute, we offer a series of hands-on workshops. Any of you that'd like to be added to our mailing list, these are open to the public, where you would be able to join virtually, at least for now. We like to do it in person as soon as we can, and study along with the rest of the students and acquire these skills. So these are all free and open to the public.
Yep. So just rounding up a bit, I want to mention a little bit about the CreateX Space at UH West Oahu. So West Oahu recently completed in January the new Academy for Creative Media building. It's focused on creative media using the latest technologies that Hollywood uses to make all your favorite movies, like The Mandalorian and so forth. And so one particular space, CreateX, is specifically targeted at the intersection between indigenous knowledge and computing, art, culture, right, all together, to see how these modern computing technologies can create new mediums of expression and storytelling to help people transition into these data fields, but also tell stories about Hawaii using technology. Mm-hmm. So for example, on the bottom right, we've got a little video of this energy table that we built for the Hawaii State Energy Office. And then later, HECO asked for the same one to help people begin to understand how Hawaii can transition to 100% renewable energy by 2045. Above here was a little photo of a workshop we ran called Indigenous Protocols in Artificial Intelligence, which is trying to take indigenous knowledge now and infuse it into artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is like a little baby that's growing up. Mm-hmm. So we've got to try and teach it to be as diverse, right, and inclusive as possible. And as part of this effort, CreateX is one of the satellite laboratories among a bunch of indigenous laboratories that are emerging around the world, and we're working with the Canadian government to push that initiative forward. Mm-hmm. Oh, and here, by the way, was GWEN's list of all those wonderful students that are data science fellows and where they ended up, right? So they really ended up at top places. In some cases, they're undergraduates. Like, for example, on the bottom, Sean Takafuji, right out of school, as being part of our fellow, he ended up joining Microsoft, right? We got folks at First Hawaiian Bank, Maui High Performance Supercomputing Center. We also had folks at Saks Fifth Avenue, right? So
And
it just
also,
kind of gives.
yeah, also
Yeah, go ahead.
Jacqueline Lee. Jacqueline Lee is an undergrad that worked with one of our faculty, Maddie Belkade, and she's now at the Federal Reserve in DC.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. So every walk of life is embracing data science or is in heavy need of data science and artificial intelligence. And so Gwen talked about the fellows program. So what is the special sauce that makes all this possible? A big part of it is that we have a really open and social environment for fostering creativity and self-motivation of students. We try to give a lot of autonomy to students in what they want to do. We want to frame everything that they're working on in terms of real world problems, not sort of these theoretical problems, right? We train them in the latest technology that's out there because that's what other mainland top universities are doing too. We want to make sure Hawaii stays at the top. We give them really competitive stipends so that, you know, when you're a fellow, you get your school paid for as well as being a fellow, which is important, right? It's really hard to go to school and also have a separate job, but we combine the two together. And we provide them with amazing computing infrastructure. You know, Gwen is in charge of the Cyberinfrastructure program at system-wide. So she has supercomputers, large storage systems that are available to students and also companies who want to collaborate in research. We have that capacity. And we have incredibly high-speed networks, 100 gigabit networks to the mainland, to Asia, to Australia, to you know, enable collaborative scientific research and development. But I think our biggest special sauce is that all this takes money. For the audience, which I can't see, if you have money, please help. I won't be shy. We've been doing great so far. We've raised a lot of funding, especially actually Gwen has raised a lot of funding. These are all the grants that we've gotten from various organizations, ranging from the National Science Foundation, Department of Energy, to companies, and also places like the Hawaii State Energy Office have been generous in helping support us in continuing this. And so since I think 2014, we've raised about 39 million. But, you know, this is all goes to support of students and their careers. And so we could use as much help as we can to get more of these talented students out there and to provide, provide the best infrastructure.
Yeah, and in
go ahead, Gwen.
thank you for this slide. Yeah, I was just going to mention, so one of our big awards was focused on water sustainability, and that was through the Hawaii EPSCoR program. This is a National Science Foundation funded program, and we are, you know, fingers, all digits tightly crossed. Our current proposal is under consideration, and if we are funded for that, that will give us another 5 years. And this time our topic is climate change and data science. So this will provide another 5 years of continuing to fund our fellows program, and we'll really create, I think a very exciting multidisciplinary environment to take on the challenge of climate change in Hawaii. Because just like we're special with respect to all kinds of things, we are also the canary in the coal mine for climate change. So this is very exciting. This is basically how Jason and I bring these resources to bear here in Hawaii, is through writing a lot of these proposals. And one of the things we are looking for is industry partners who would like to help us support some of our students by providing a real world example or a very hard data science program that would benefit the industry partner to work on. We would mentor the students. This is the State Energy Office is using this model. But bring your hard project. We will find terrific students. We will mentor them, and you will have a chance of possibly recruiting that student to your company. So that's the other set of relationships, and one of the reasons we're really happy to be here at this event today.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and there's the climate change.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want more.
Yeah. So this is our very kind of complex diagram, our kind of for our climate change proposal that's now pending. We're going to look at climate change from a number of different lenses, from looking at weather patterns that we know are changing, looking at the interaction of weather and ecohydrology. That's with respect to all the plants and stuff that help us capture water and refill our important water resources, and also looking carefully at how land use is used in Hawaii in terms of how changes in climate will impact that, and how we can best conserve some of the land use to promote carbon sequestration, climate change, adaptation, and others. And as Jason was saying earlier, with respect to this, there are some challenges that we need to figure out how to solve, and that is the trade-off between figuring out what our land is used for, whether it's used for solar panels to generate clean energy or whether it's used to grow food. And that's a hard problem to solve because we need to be able to find a way to do both. So a lot of this project will be focused on that. It's also very much there's an educational training program that's a centerpiece of this, and it's all focused on data science, and specifically data science and climate science combined. So training climate scientists to have better data science skills, and data science to be able to apply their skills to important problems in climate change. So we're super excited about this. We should know about it pretty soon, and that will be our next big chapter, our next big project in the Data Science Institute.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that's it. That's our last slide, and we've got time for questions even. Let me stop this sharing.
Yeah. So if anyone has a question, feel free to just drop it into the chat, or our website is datascience.hawaii.edu. Please feel free to reach out, sign up for our mailing list. We have a lot of great seminars and programs that would be of interest to folks. So, you're all welcome to join us.
And the Hawaii Data Science Institute, they have a booth as well. So, feel free to head over to the booth to talk to any of the reps that are available over there with some of your questions. I'm not seeing any questions coming in through the discussion. I'm sure everyone's just trying to absorb all the cool stuff that you guys are doing. So, but thank you so much, Grant, Jason, for your time, today, sharing all the cool projects that, you guys are working on, and the programs to help elevate, I think, the level of data science expertise here in Hawaii. For those listening in, again, this session has been recorded and will be made available to you after this event. So feel free to rewatch it later. I would also like you to join us for our final live session that's happening at 12:30 p.m., where we'll be talking to Elisha Fronda, who is part of the go-to-market team at Whatnot, a really, quick and fast-growing startup. Elisha's from Hawaii, graduated from Kamehameha schools, but, kind of took like a route that's, I guess less explored or unexplored in some ways. So join us as we, talk to him later on his experience, and good luck with the rest of the job fair. And I hope you find the career opportunities that you're looking for. Again, thank you so much, Gwen and Jason.
Okay,
for your
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Okay. All right, so we're supposed to go.